Chapter 6, Negotiations. Because of the work that Bree was able to do in the last episode, it was decided that anyone who was unwilling or unable to fight or take care of their situation in town would be, taken out of town as secretly as possible in convoys to try and get anyone who, wanted to get out. This left several people who were either part of the military or just people who wanted to stick around and fight because, losing anything would be everything. It was decided that one person would have to go and have a conversation with the pirates in order to just sort of figure out what they wanted. Hopefully it could just be, easily discussed and, the whole thing could be just dealt with easily. Bree sits on the top of the wall looking down at this guy. Let's be this guy for a minute. We've decided that this guy's name is Gouda. Gouda has been in the military for a little bit longer than Bree and drew the short straw on going out to go talk to the pirates. It's very likely that the pirates just want to have all of the supplies inside the town. And so this is mostly just probably nothing bad will happen. All you've got to do is just talk to them, ask them what they want, and then go and get that stuff from town. Despite that, the bear tanks wandering around in the middle distance here are kind of scaring you. While you approach, a pirate rat drops down from one of the tanks and wanders over to you, gun drawn. Yes. All right. What do you want? Can we get some hopes and dreams of Gouda? He joined the military. He didn't, get drafted. He decided that he wanted to be here. He kind of wanted to go and actually fight the Black Paw terrorist group. He didn't really want to just hang around in this region. He's not even from the Falling Moon Kingdom, but this is his job. This is what he's doing. And honestly, saving the people and the property of this town are cool. It makes him happy, He's doing what he should be doing. You guys have voted to say, what are your demands? He says, well, I'm going to put it to you this way. Okay, well that didn't go well. So now you're Bree again. You're going to have to decide how you're going to start dealing with the incoming bears. The sounds of the birds go silent as the sound of gunfire begin. Up on top of the battlements, there is a cannon ready to go to be able to, you can see it in this shot here. You've got the spikes along the palisades, and then you've got a cannon in the back. The bears are coming directly at you. It's only a matter of time before they get there. You're currently unarmed. Interestingly enough, the pirates don't appear to be shooting all that much, though there is some random cluster of fire at mice that are along the battlements. Charlie isn't here. He went to go deliver the paintings along with the rest of them. Look for cover and or help. I mean, luckily, it was sort of, in the cards that this might be what's going to happen. Though it is very abnormal behavior for pirates. Normally, they just use extreme aggression in order to get what they need and what they want, and then they take the stuff they want, and then they leave. Usually, they don't go to all-out warfare. It's really atypical behavior of them. Please tell me you have explosives, traps, or some sort of guerrilla tactics. Traps and explosives aren't really an option. This town isn't really meant to be attacked. It's got some basic garrison forces, but yeah. Pit traps, it's kind of hard to, dig giant... you are a mouse, and they are bears. The whole town is, slightly larger than a bear. So, We decided to try and find the cannons and man cannons, and say a prayer for Gouda. Currently, there is no way for, pirates to get up here, unless if... Oh, shit! There's a fucking bear! Luckily, the spikes on the, battlements are good enough to try and keep it back for a moment, but that's not gonna last long. They're essentially just sharpened sticks. So you decide to just run down the stairs and cry, because that seems to be a consistent thing between this poll and the last poll, that crying is something you want to do. Running down the stairs, you pass some people who have decided that he will go ahead and stay behind and guard their, city. Not being able to have access to weapons of any necessary size, they all have just decided to take the sharpened sticks that are along the battlements and use them as a way of just deterring it from getting any closer to the inside of the fortress. Continuing forward, you come across an artillery cannon that's set up just outside the cathedral. It looks like it's already manned by 2 mice and is doing just fine. A mice waves you over. The cannon on top of the tower stopped shooting. Get the hell over there and figure out what happened. Tell them to aim for the saddle. The bear will run and get scared and run away. The bear is set up so that way it's got like a howdah made out of like metal to protect the inhabitants. It sort of works like a moving battle station. Sort of like the deer tank, essentially. They don't seem to hear you over the gunfire, but one of them does nod at you as if he did. So maybe? You start running your way towards the tower. You don't see anyone in it, which is odd because why would no one be there? You make your way on back up the stairs and notice that the forward wall that you were just at has collapsed, and one of the bears has made its way through. 2 of the other bears have gotten into some sort of tuffle with each other. Apparently, the people driving them got them too close, and the bears decided to start fighting each other rather than, you know, fighting you. But that doesn't stop the fact that there is a very real bear on its way directly towards where you're standing. At least one bear has been able to be corralled into the fortress. The cannon itself is a bit more of an archaic design than you're used to. This has been around for a while, in the very least. It seems to have a rotary platform that allows it to turn and fire off into the middle distance of really any angle that you'd like. You decide that you're going to attempt to use the cannon to get the rogue bear into fighting the other 2 bears, rather than, you know, trying to necessarily kill it. Just try and piss it off and get it to go the other direction. Aim for the eyes seems to be a very popular choice as well. Attempting to load the cannon proves to be very difficult. Whatever ancient technology was used in this thing, it seems as if no one really decided to keep up with this thing. Despite your best efforts, you're able to load the cannon, though it does take a lot more effort and time than you would really expect. For whatever reason, the gun doesn't seem to want to fire, despite being loaded as you've been taught. A giant thud hits the bottom of the tower, as you can feel just everything falling apart under you. You've landed somewhere. You're not entirely sure where you are right now. You seem to be okay, but that's a little bit surprising considering what just happened. You stand up and begin to recognize your immediate surroundings. You've landed on top of the bear somehow, and it seems as if the cannon ended up going off, because immediately after you realize where you are, you feel the sensation of falling again. Sliding down from one of the tops of the bear tank comes the exact same guy that you saw earlier. The one that ended up killing Gouda. You don't have a gun, but you do have a sword. In at least some sort of good luck, you have seemed to have accidentally killed the bear. It turns out that whatever firing pin was necessary in order for the cannon to go off ended up going off just by nature of the cannon falling and using the bear's own head as activator. You've accidentally killed the bear. See what he wants. Well, he's got a gun, and he did just murder a guy directly in front of you, so the fur isn't thick enough for you to get really a good hiding spot going. You aren't really disguised. An entire tower just fell on top of this bear, and he went out to go check. A majority of chat looks like wants to run. Just run away from this guy and try and slide off of a dying bear into the rest of the battle. You begin to make your turn to run when he draws his gun and points it at you. Hold it right there. You don't think I'm gonna let some military man get away with that, do you? He cocks his gun, getting ready to actually pull the trigger. But when he does, it dry fires. Something's gone wrong with his gun. Turns out that if you're living off of scraps, you're not going to be able to get much. Both you and T realize the same thing at the same time. He drops his gun with a clatter, and both of you draw your swords at the same time. You are trained in fighting as a swords person. It's just being, you know, part of the military. This is part of your gig. You can either choose to go high, middle, or low. As a free action, similar to crying, you can tell him, "Cheese to meet you." As you decide to go low, and in order to come in close and get a good stab, he moves in as well, bucking your aim slightly up. You take a moment to realize that the man you were just talking to is dead. You begin to look around. You're standing on top of a dead bear next to a dead man in a city that is now completely crowded with dead people. You can see the two bears wandering off into the distance. Apparently one more wounded than the other. Any attempts at using both of them at the same time to continue this is pretty much over. For whatever reason, you appear to be the only one still moving around. Generally speaking, you think that could have gone a lot better. And probably a lot worse. Use a little bit of time to cry. And then you pass out, because you're kind of stressed now. And that is actually going to be where we're going to end today's session.